Right, okay. So 15 is a very uncommon age group for this type of disease and how quickly it affected me. First off, the symptoms were very, very minimal. Lethargy, being slow, being tired. Walking from my house to school was the most exhausting thing I've ever done. Everyone thought it was just the man flu, you know, a cold, whatever. So, went to the walking centre. I've had my blood pressure taken hundreds of times now. Hasn't hurt at all, except from that time. I also did a urine test and blood showed up in the urine. And he just gave me antibiotics. Early hours of the morning, my mum was like, let's get into the hospital. Did loads of blood tests, trying to figure out what was wrong. What made them send me up to the ICU was a creatinine blood test, which basically showed my kidneys were in complete failure. The levels are supposed to be around 180 to 120. Mine were 2,200. They transported me directly up to the ICU and got an emergency catheter in done by a doctor up from a femoral artery as an emergency dialysis line over around 5 days of just constant dialysis. Terrible feeling, wouldn't recommend it. The doctor told me I was going to be on medication for the rest of my life. Everything else since then, I didn't break down once or anything like that. And over the years, I broke down maybe 3 times of the events of the hospital, but the first time I broke down was when the doctor said you're probably going to be on medication for the rest of my life. So this is tacrolimus. This is the one that's most important. Take this no matter what, every 12 hours, because if you don't take it, then your kidney will reject. On dialysis day, I would get to the RVI hospital with my mum, of course. She was at every dialysis session I ever had. Walk up the stairs at RVI towards 7. Get sat on my allocated seat. Some people talk about how they have some form of PTSD from hospitals, stuff like the fluorescent lighting. My main ones are from that tray that the nurse would bring. They would attach one line at a time, red to red, blue to blue, and then start the dialysis. 3 days a week, 4 hours a day, so 12 hours in total. And that was minimum. Also remember I was on a CPAP machine. So to get the fluid moving in my lungs, to get the dialysis to take it out, you have to have this high pressure mask on. It's so high pressure that you can't speak while it's on. So it's not like a normal oxygen mask where you can take it off, whatever. You have to have it strapped to your head, and it's such high pressure it moves the fluid. And that was terrifying because you have to fully adjust your breathing. Everything you do, you have to think about as a second thought, like putting a t-shirt on. If it's too tight around that, it'll hurt. You have to worry about infection constantly. You have to dress it appropriately. It's a big life change. You can't go swimming. You can't have a shower. The other massive life changes were I can only drink a litre a day of fluid. That includes yogurt, soups, water, which is a lot harder than you think. If you decided to go over that, if you're really thirsty, whatever, you would be very ill the day after. So you can't really do that, or it'll put strain on your heart. Couldn't have veg, couldn't have fruit, couldn't have chocolate, couldn't have meat and high protein, like stuff like corned beef. I remember at Christmas we wanted steak for the meat of the Christmas dinner, and I could only have like this much meat. Everyone had a full steak or whatever. I could only have that much meat because I was only allowed 40 grams of protein a day. Just after getting diagnosed, I didn't really have any interests of what I wanted to do, what aspired to be. But throughout it all, I had excellent doctors that would kind of educate me on different bits of why things work, why things don't work. So from that point, I had a massive interest in human biology. Throughout college, I did thankfully get good grades to get into Sunderland University, where I'm now doing physiology. But the main goal is to be a physician's associate and hopefully treat people like me, not just medically, but emotionally, and tell them it's going to be fine, because if I made it this far, they can. It's kind of a tradition in the whole kidney community to call the kidney a name. Some people, in my opinion, are boring. They say Sydney the kidney, rhyme it with something. I call it Paddy because it's kind of a symbol of Irish luck. So hopefully the kidney's going to be lucky enough to last 15 plus years.